Hi, I'm Heyzeus, and this video is about an ambitious young whippersnapper and his crazy scheme to fill up his bank account with some sick Skrilla in early 2016. Now, everyone knows the real way you got rich back then was to promote a cool new gambling site you found with the help of a little percent, but we're going to have a look at the different approach this certain big-brained individual took that didn't quite work out. Now, this poor sucker thought a great way to line his pockets with money would be to buy a whole bunch of cases, 12,605 to be exact, and he figured that if he bought them for 3 cents or so now and sold them off for $1 each later, well, he'd be doing pretty good for himself. Spoiler alert though, this did not go to plan, but we're gonna have a close look at what this guy invested in and just what he was thinking at the time. So this guy invested in 6 different cases. Most of them are only 3 cents a case, but some of them cost him more like 6 cents, but they were all still fairly cheap. The main challenge was just the manual labour involved in transporting them all between the accounts. It didn't cost heaps of money, but there was a lot of time and effort involved, even with things like Steam Inventory Helper, and unfortunately, none of these cases were the Bravo case, the Esports 2013 Summer cases, the CSGO Weapon cases, the Huntsman case, or the Winter Offensive case. If he'd invested in these, he might have made quite a bit of money, but unfortunately, he was a bit of a Johnny-come-lately, and only invested in stuff that was a bit more recent. So, the first of his investments were 930 Chroma cases, split between these 2 storage accounts. Now, this case doesn't have much going for it, other than the Chroma knives and the Dragon King. It's kind of shit, let's just be honest here, and that's why, he invested in less than 1,000. And initially, they cost him about 6 cents a piece in early 2016. Nowadays, they're 16 cents or 14 cents after Steam tax. So, despite being a pretty lame case, they have actually gone up in value, and this guy has made $80 or so, which isn't quite the $1 a case he was hoping for, but given how garbage this case is, well, you know what, you have to take what you get. But the Chroma case is not the only crappy case he bought a lot of. He also picked up 1,000 breakout cases, all for 3 cents a piece. Now, as far as good stuff in the breakout case goes, well, there's butterfly knives and actually, yeah, there's just butterfly knives. This case is hot stinking garbage. I don't know why he even bothered with buying 1,000 of them, but I mean, you can sell them for 8 cents now, or 6 cents after Steam tax, so that's $30 profit. I mean, that'll cover most of the cost of beer for a modest night at the pub, I guess. So, yay, winning, I suppose. Now, the third case isn't quite such a pathetic failure. It's the Phoenix case, and he bought 1,376 of them. Now, that may sound like a bit of an odd number, particularly with this particular account here, and I have heard a rumour that there was meant to be another 700 cases here, and that he bought them on a friend's account to speed things up and was going to transfer them over, but then they had a falling out, supposedly involving a red-haired woman and alcohol. Cannot confirm, but such is the rumour. But anyway, at least the cases he does have did relatively well. I mean, he bought them for 6 cents each, and after Steam tax they can be sold for 19 cents each now, particularly after some scumbag YouTuber hyped them up a little while ago. But this means he's now made almost $180 from these cases, a real non-trivial sum, and even if it is still a lot less than he would have made if he actually got to $1 a case like he was hoping, well, at least people can't really laugh at him over this one. But here's where we get a little bit more heavy duty, because this guy also invested in Falchion cases, and he went hard. In fact, he bought 3,549 of them, all for 3 cents a piece, more than all 3 previous cases combined. That's quite a few. This guy clearly liked the Falchion case. Now, as I understand it, the thinking was that the Falchion case had some decent covert skins and some reasonable classified skins, particularly the Cyrix, which is arguably the best SG553 skin around. So, long term, maybe there'd be decent interest in this case, particularly if the SG got a buff. Now, the Falchion case has definitely not ended up being worth $1, but it has made its way up to 10 cents, which is 5 cents profit a case after sale, or nearly $180 profit altogether, which could be worse. Of course, this does all require this guy to get off his lazy ass and go to the trouble of selling them, and knowing what he's like, it's quite possible he just won't be bothered, but at least it is a profit on paper. Now, sitting alongside these 3,500 vouching cases is also 3,750 shadow cases. Clearly, another favourite of this dude. The thinking was that the shadow case also had a swath of pretty desirable skins, whether it was the Kill Confirm, the dopiest of dope USP skins, the Golden Coil, which dignifies the case by not being complete garbage, or the Frontside Misty, which is not to be confused with the Rule 34 of Misty from Pokemon. Now, there were some downsides to this as well, such as the fact that it seems to contain sex toys rather than knives, but hey, they only cost 3 cents a case, and all in all, that should work out, right? Well, not really. After Steam tax, you'll be selling them for 1 cent profit a pop these days, so $37.50 profit overall. Something tells me these may be left to rot on those storage accounts. But the shadow case was not the biggest letdown in this set of investments, because this guy also picked up 2,000 revolver cases for 3 cents a piece. Now, you might wonder why on earth anyone would invest in this case. In fact, you might not have actually heard of it before, it doesn't have much status, but basically, the logic was that since this case stopped being a normal drop pretty quickly because it wasn't very popular, well, there wouldn't be that many of them floating around, so hey, maybe give it a year and its price will go up, particularly if the revolver got a buff someday and the revolver fade became quite desirable. Now, you can probably spot the problem with that logic. The reason it was pulled in the first place is because it wasn't popular, and no surprises that 3 years on, these things are only worth 4 cents or 2 cents after Steam tax, so I'm afraid our poor investor is going to be taking a $20 loss here. Still, overall, this hasn't actually put that much of a dent in the amount of money this guy's made, and he's done okay after 3 years of rating. It might not have been worth all the time and effort involved, but it has actually been profitable. He's more than doubled his money, he's made about $500 profit. It just wasn't the lucrative gold mine that this guy and so many other people at the time thought they were getting in on. And it's interesting now because these case investments have been considered completely dead for ages, and it's really bizarre to see that 3 years on in a really changed scene compared to back in 2016, the cases are actually beginning to take their first baby steps towards working out as investments, and it really makes me wonder where cases are going to be in a year from now and whether we might actually think of them as good investments again at that point. And either way, I'm going to be interested to find out, because if it goes well, I'm going to make lots of money. Oh yeah, I should mention, yeah, all those cases and storage accounts we've been looking at this whole video, yeah, those are all mine. This is all my stuff. But don't know why I forgot to mention that. Anyway, to wrap up one loose end, if you're wondering why I've spread all my cases out over all these different storage accounts rather than loading them up into one or two through listing stuff on the market to create inventory space, basically I was too fucking stupid to figure that out at the time, so that's why it's spread out anywhere. Not a good move. Don't follow my example. Anyway though, I think that brings this video to an end. This channel is supported by Loot Bear. There is a referral link in the description and a code to get a discount on a Prime subscription if you're interested. Otherwise though, thank you very much for watching. As always, trust the numbers, not your gut. I'm Heyzeus. See ya.